Hello and welcome to our Photoshop CS-6 starter disk. If you can allow me just a couple of minutes, I think we can make the learning process a bit smoother and you'll understand our approach to the series of videos and presentations you'll find on this disk. This isn't the first starter disk we've ever made. In fact, we've been making a starter for most versions of Photoshop and Elements for many years, so we know the structure and our approach is about right. Modern software is always packed with many different options, and certainly Photoshop is one of those programs. The problem that gives us when we're first introduced to it is, how do we know which options we need now to get started, which options we may be introduced to a little bit further down the track, and maybe even which options are we unlikely to ever use. So the way we approach our starter disk is to ask you to trust us. What we're going to suggest in the first few videos on this particular disk is how you should set up your version of Photoshop. We're going to suggest which parts of the software we can put aside for a while, but we're going to also suggest which ones we're going to need right from the start. And then the remainder of the disk will be carrying out all those real-life techniques that we're going to need, particularly in the first few months of our association with this stunning software. You will get the best from this disk if you watch the presentations in the order we've presented them on the menus, because we start off gently and gradually build up from there. If you're a Mac user, you'll find a folder in the root of the disk and you'll find all of the presentation is numbered. Now, I'm sure you've got enough knowledge of Photoshop already to know that those who promise they can make you a Photoshop expert in 2 hours are not being entirely truthful. It does take a while to learn this software, but the best way to learn anything is to take it a small part at a time. And that's the philosophy we use on this starter disk and on the disks that come later, our more dedicated disks, such as layers and shooting and manipulating raw files. Now, we are photographers, not graphic artists, so all of the tutorials that we're going to produce are going to be aimed fairly and squarely at photographers. If you're a PC user, you can run all of the content on this disk from our menus. The videos are designed to open up in Windows Media Player, but if you do have another video player installed as a default on your computer, then it's very likely the videos will open in that. If you're a Mac user, then you're going to need to access the folder on the disk, which is called Mac Content, and you'll find everything in that folder, and it's numbered in the order it should be played. All the videos presented for Mac users will be in QuickTime format. So we're going to start off the content of this disk in a logical way, but we are going to ask for your indulgence for 10 minutes longer, because the first presentation is titled Good Housekeeping. When we start to shoot digital images, we quickly find, if we're not careful, that we can not only fill our computer but also lose track of where the images are, which ones we've manipulated, which ones we haven't, which ones we've resized, and we've seen this at its worst really affect the learning process and also our creativity to some degree. So, although we don't claim to have all of the answers to keeping order on our PCs and Macintoshes, we do have a suggestion and a system that's worked for us for well over 10 years. So I think it's time to bring this introduction to an end, and we need to get started with the learning process. Enjoy the DVD.